All right, let's dive into something that's been floating around for a while now. What are the Atlanta Falcons going to do with the 15th pick in this year's NFL draft? A lot of folks are wondering if they might trade back, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Now, I don't see Atlanta moving up the board, doesn't feel like that's in the cards. But moving back? That's where it gets interesting. The Falcons only have 5 total picks, and it's a draft class loaded with edge rushers. So if they've got a group of guys they like with similar grades, sliding down a few spots could be a smart move. ESPN's Jordan Reed even pointed out Atlanta as one of the top candidates to trade back from number 15. Terry Fontenot hasn't done a ton of trading down during his time in Atlanta, only once in 4 years, but this might be the year to make it happen. The ideal scenario? The Falcons sit tight, see how the board shakes out through picks 1 to 14, and if the right offer comes in while they're on the clock, boom, they move back a few spots, grab a player they still love, and scoop up an extra day 2 pick. Think about it. In a mock draft scenario, the top prospects Atlanta was eyeing, guys like Nate Wiggins, Jared Verse, Cooper DeJean, and Terrion Arnold, were already off the board by the time they were up. So now you've got a choice: reach for a position of need or slide back and play the value game. And that's where the name Mikel Williams comes into play. Now, Williams is a freaking stud. The guy's 6'5", 260 pounds with a 4.77 40. That's some serious size and juice for a pass rusher. If your top 3 guys are gone and Williams is still hanging around later in the first, why not move back, grab him around pick 20, and steal an extra third rounder in the process? Sounds like a win-win. Of course, the risk is real. If Williams or your target gets snatched before you're back on the clock, then yeah, it stings. That's the gamble. But it's one Terry and the Falcons have to weigh carefully. Play it safe at 15, or play the board and see if you can turn 1 pick into 2 quality players. Let's keep rolling. Next, let's break down what Mikel Williams brings to the table and what kind of return Atlanta might get if they do decide to move back. Look, let's not kid ourselves here. Mikel Williams ain't no slowpoke. The dude is 20 years old. 20! He hasn't even hit that dad strength phase yet. You know what I mean? He's still got room to fill out, get stronger, get quicker, and just physically grow into a full-blown monster. That's just biology, baby. By the time this guy's hitting his second contract, he'll be what, 24 or 25 years old? That's younger than some of the guys coming into this draft right now. So if you're worried about where he is today, don't forget where he could be in 2 or 3 years. The ceiling on this guy is sky high. Now yeah, let's talk about the downside. The production this past season wasn't what we expected. His junior year was supposed to be the breakout. Didn't quite happen. But let's be fair here. He played through a high ankle sprain almost the entire season. That's brutal for any player, especially a pass rusher who depends on explosiveness and bend off the edge. Still, when the lights were the brightest, this dude showed up. Go back and watch the film against Texas. Twice. First in the regular season, then again in the SEC title game. Williams was all over Quinn Eers. It's one thing to rack up sacks against cupcake teams in September, but Williams brought it when the stakes were highest. That's the kind of guy you want on your squad. If I've got to choose between a player who had 2 sacks in massive, pressure-packed matchups or another dude who posted 6 sacks against Middle Tennessee State, the Citadel, and Alabama A&M, I'll take the gamer who balled out against Texas all day. That kind of performance means something. It's not just about stats. It's about when you show up. Sure, 5 sacks on the year isn't anything to throw a parade over. And you know I'm big on production. But context matters. Ankle injury, elite opponents, ability to turn it up when it counts, that's got to carry weight when you're evaluating this kid. Now let's shift gears to the trade-back scenario. I've got a move that makes a lot of sense, and it involves the Houston Texans. I could absolutely see them sitting at pick 25 and wanting to leap up to 15. Why the Texans? 2 big reasons. First off, GM Nick Caserio is aggressive. The man's not afraid to shake things up, and he's shown it. Last year, he was fine moving back to stockpile more picks. This is a team that sees value and isn't scared to go get it. So here's the deal. Houston might be feeling bold. Back-to-back playoff appearances, young quarterback balling out, and now they've got a reason to get a little aggressive. They just shipped off their starting left tackle, so if they want to lock down the top offensive tackle on the board, they might not want to risk waiting until pick 25. Moving up to 15, that could be the move. Or maybe they're looking to boost C.J. Stroud's weaponry. Stephon Diggs is gone. If a wideout like Tyroa McMillan or Matthew Golden starts slipping, don't be shocked if the Texans try to shoot up the board and get their guy. So what's the trade? In this setup, Atlanta sends pick 15 to Houston, and in return, they get the Texans' third-round pick. Houston's got 2 of those, so it's not a massive loss for them. And for Atlanta, boom, they're back in the third round with a chance to fill some holes. Now let's say the Falcons do trade back, and Mikel Williams is no longer on the board. Don't panic. There are still some juicy options sitting in that mid-20s range, and one name to circle is Donovan Iziruaku out of Boston College. This dude's been ballin'. 6'2", 248 pounds, a 3-year starter, and a pressure machine. He wasn't some 5-star phenom out of high school, came up out of Jersey and just flat out earned it. All he's done is rack up sacks and cause problems for offenses. He played mostly as a stand-up outside linebacker, and while he doesn't have the ideal frame to put his hand in the dirt every down, if Atlanta rolls with a 3-4 front again, this guy gives off some serious Arnold Ebiketie vibes. I'm not saying he's going to follow the same path or hit the same ceiling, but in terms of style and role, there's something there. Last season, 16.5 sacks. Just a half sack behind Layatu Latu, who led the nation. Add in a truckload of tackles for loss, and you've got production that pops off the page. Now let's be real. The knock on him is that he might just be a third down guy, a pure pass rush specialist. You throw him out there on 3rd and 10, let him pin his ears back and go hunt quarterbacks. That's valuable, no doubt. But is that what you want in a first-round pick? Probably not. You want someone who can contribute on all 3 downs. But if Atlanta's looking at him in the 3rd round, thanks to that trade back, that's a whole different ballgame. All right, let's keep the draft train rolling. Another guy I want to throw into the mix here is James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, my Vol. And let me tell you, this dude's a freak athlete. Completely different profile from Donovan Iziruaku. We're talking 6'5", 245 pounds with a ridiculous 4.4740. That is blazing speed off the edge. Now look, Pierce is one of the fastest guys in this entire class. When the ball's snapped, he's living in the backfield. But here's the thing about speed rushers. That stuff works in college, where most offensive tackles look like they're stuck in cement. The NFL, whole different world. Those tackles are quick, polished, and built like bears. Just being fast ain't enough. If you're just winning with speed in college, you're going to hit a wall in the league unless you've got some power in your game too. The guys who thrive, Myles Garrett, Von Miller, they had both. And those guys don't show up in every draft. This year, nobody in that class, and frankly, last year didn't have them either. So if Atlanta's interested in Pierce, it's because they believe the coaching staff can bulk him up, teach him a real bull rush, and develop that power game. And that's a fair bet to make, but it's also a project. Now let's talk about the red flags, because there are a couple. First off, the frame. He's 6'5", but he looks like a wide receiver in pads. Not a ton of bulk yet. Then there's the locker room stuff. Some whispers out there about character concerns. Now, I've never met the guy, but Atlanta brought him in for a visit. If the Falcons did their homework and feel good about the person, then you roll with it. Last concern, dip in production. 10 sacks in 2023, dropped to 7.5 in 2024. But as someone who watched every single Vols game, let me tell you why. Tennessee was blowing people out early, and Pierce wasn't playing much. like 15 snaps a game. He averaged maybe 5 snaps a game for the year. You give him 50, 60 NFL-level reps, that production might spike again. So now here's the real question for Falcons fans. Would you trade back from 15 to 25 knowing that your guy, maybe Mikel Williams or someone like him, is gone by the time you pick? If you still walk away with James Pierce and pick up an extra third-rounder in the process, is that worth it? For me? Yeah, I'm open to it, especially if your top 3 targets are already off the board. I don't think the drop from Pierce to someone like Ezeruwaku is massive. You're talking about 2 guys who can develop into solid pass rushers, and now you've got extra draft capital to go fill another hole on the roster. So yeah, if that's the move, I'm in.